The report of the Committee on Historical Basis, Involvements, and Validity of the October 22nd, 1844 position. Part 4. The date of Artaxerxes' decree to restore and build Jerusalem. In the consideration of so important a line of prophecy as that of the 2300 days, it is most essential that the date of its beginning be determined with as much certainty as possible. It is beyond the province of this committee to deal with the theological evidence that the 70 weeks and the 2300 days have the same point of origin, but the sole object of Part 4 will be to determine, if possible, the exact year in which Artaxerxes' decree to build and restore Jerusalem was given. From Ezra chapter 7, verses 7 to 26, it is quite plain that the decree of Artaxerxes was given in the 7th year of his reign, and that Ezra, acting upon this decree, left Babylon on the first day of Nisan and arrived in Jerusalem on the first day of Abib, according to Ezra chapter 7, verse 9. In order to determine this year accurately, in terms of our calendrical system, it is necessary to know a. How the chronological years of a king were named and reckoned, b. At what point in the year the new year came, whether spring or fall, and c. How to interpret the date thus found in terms of our calendrical system. The problem has been studied according to the following outline. A. The determination of chronological method. B. The location of well-authenticated eclipses as anchors. C. The application of proper chronological methods to the reigns of kings, checking the same by the Canon of Ptolemy and with various clay tablets found in excavations of the sites in question and dated with definite years in the king's reign. D. The final application of the various principles in the working out of the definite date. A. The chronological method verified by biblical synchronism. Scholars are not united in applying the term accession year, used in connection with the rulers of ancient kingdoms. It is spoken of as accession year on the dated tablets, but in Scripture it is usually referred to by the statement, began to reign in the year of, according to 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 41, and 2 Kings chapter 13, verse 10, and more. Many refer to this system by the term antedating. Upon the proper interpretation of this term accession year depends the correct reckoning of any chronological period, for otherwise the length of a king's rule may be an entire year out. Over a period covering the reign of several kings, it is easily seen that this error would rapidly mount up, making any accurate determination impossible. The problem is vastly greater than taking some special king list and adding together the lengths of reigns. If possible, the method used in recording the number of years of a king's rule must first be determined. In Scripture, however, they are given a series of references where certain years of a Jewish ruler are equated with certain years of a corresponding Babylonian ruler during the reigns of Nabopolassar, Nebuchadnezzar, and Amel-Marduk that shows clearly how this accession year is considered. By study of Table 1, pages 5 and 6, one will notice 8 of these so-called synchronisms marked S as follows. Synchronism number 1. Reading from Jeremiah chapter 25, verses 1 to 3. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Joachim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah. That was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. The which Jeremiah the prophet spake unto all the people of Judah and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, From the 13th year of Josiah the son of Ammon, king of Judah, even unto this day, that is the 23rd year, the word of the Lord hath come unto me, and I have spoken unto you, rising early and speaking, but you have not hearkened. If we read the note number 2 here, which is quite important, we believe it will give you a better understanding of what is synchronism and chronology in the Bible. Synchronism being the event and chronology, the dating. Santic reigned 54 years, giving way to Necho in 609 BC. Thus he began his reign in 663 BC, with which date A.T. Olmsted, The History of Assyria, showing that Ashur-bani-apal also reigned 22 years and died in 626 BC. Nabopolassar revolted and ordered his subjects to date their business records for his years as king of Babylon. The earliest dated tablet in Nabopolassar's reign is for 2 months and days. Necho began to reign in 609 BC, according to the history of Egypt. Necho killed Josiah. The people appointed Jehoahaz king. Necho deposed him and appointed Jehoiakim king, according to 2 Chronicle, chapter 35, verses 20 to 36, and 4, and chapter 36, verse 4, 2 King, chapter 23, verses 29 to 35, and Josiah reigned 31 years, according to 2 King, chapter 22, verse 1. Many scriptures are given to demonstrate how to calculate synchronism and chronology. The same formula is used for recording the accession year of Jehoahaz in 2 King, chapter 23, verse 31, and also that of Jehoiakim in verse 36, as was used in recording that of Josiah, 2 Chronicle, chapter 34, verse 1. And again, that's where we find that he was so many years old when he began to reign, showing that his age is reckoned to his accession year and not to his first year. 23 years cover the time from the 13th of Josiah through the accession and 3 months of Jehoahaz, and the accession of Jehoiakim up to and including the latter 4th years. Only by so doing can one make these 23-year span the period required, for Jewish reckoning is always inclusive reckoning, taking account of both the opening and the closing years of any given period. Another example, synchronism number 2, taken from Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah in the 4th year of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah. That was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Here, the 4th year of Jehoiakim equals the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar. Reading from the number 3 and 4 reference, this year was the date of the battle of Carchemish, where Nebuchadnezzar defeated Necho, according to Jeremiah chapter 46, verse 2. In the history of Egypt, we're told it makes the battle of Carchemish in 605. But in this history of Palestine and Syria, Olmsted puts this campaign correctly in 604. In the history of the early Iran, Cameron infers the same date by making Nebuchadnezzar reign from 604 to 562. A clear example of inclusive reckoning is seen in the fact that Jehoiakim rebelled after serving Nebuchadnezzar 3 years, according to 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 1. Because of the conditions spoken of in the next few verses, a fast was proclaimed in Jeremiah chapter 36, verse 9. Jeremiah wrote a message which is read to Jehoiakim, who, in anger, cut the roll and burnt it, according to Jeremiah chapter 36, verse 22. It is during this same year that Nebuchadnezzar had the dream of the great image in Daniel 2, and Daniel interpreted it for the king. We will bypass now these particulars and go back to our text. Coupling the recognized length of Nabopolassar's reign of 21 years with the fact that the eclipses of the moon taking place in 621 occurred in the 5th year of his reign gives no alternative but to make the death year of Nabopolassar the accession year of Nebuchadnezzar as shown in the table. Thus, the statement in Daniel chapter 1 verse 1, in the 3rd year of the reign of Joachim king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon unto Jerusalem and besieged it, is in perfect harmony with Jeremiah chapter 25 verse 1. Again, we can see that there are lots of reference here, and we will bypass that to continue with Nebuchadnezzar. And when did he become, because there's lots of reference we recommend you to read from, which we will bypass their historical reference, and now the author came to the conclusion that he's presenting here. So here we come to the table that he has prepared in showing what he has just explained. This is a comparative chronology of Neo-Babylonia, Persia, Egypt, and Israel from 627 BC, which he starts in the left column in the BC 627, going all the way to 443 BC, meaning he bypassed the 457 because BC goes down. So here we have in 627, we have the king of Egypt, and then we have the king of Judah, which is Josiah. We have the 70 years, which have not quite started yet, of captivity. We have Joachim's captivity, which has not started yet. The prophet mentioned at the time in 626 BC was Jeremiah, and his years of being a prophet, which were very long. And then we have Assyria, which was taken over by Babylonia, and with Ashur-banipal and Nabopolassar, which has to do with the king that preceded Nebuchadnezzar. Then we have Persia and the reference, which will give us where to go for the pages, and also the synchronism that Brother Elish Wood has prepared. So here we will continue with the presentation of the first synchronism that he mentioned, Jeremiah chapter 23 verses 1 to 3, which is right here under S1, which would be comprehended in those years of Jeremiah, and will bring us again with the year 617 at the time as we continue this study of the synchronism and chronology. Very important. The second synchronism and chronology is found right here, as he explains here, and it's under Jeremiah chapter 25 verse 1. So that's always having to do with the explanation of the synchronism and the chronology and the Bible. So it's important to read both. You have to read the Bible and then read as far as when it happened in history. The number 3, synchronism and chronology, which would bring Joachim and Zedekiah. 2 Chronicle chapter 36 verses 5 to 10, and then there is one in 2 King here. So we continue here, and then the call of Ezekiel, which would occur with this first year in 593 BC, when Senteknau number 2 comes into power in Egypt. All right, continuing always here as we continue to study, and we're going to come again with the same at the top here, but by now the captivity, the 70 years captivity, is in its 16th year. Joachim has been captive for 8 years. Prophet Ezekiel has been 4 years now talking to Israel, and we're under the reign of Zedekiah, 7 years. Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar in the 15th year, and the reference again, Persia is not here again mentioned because it has not occurred yet in history. And as we look at the synchronism, we have synchronism here number 4, 5, and 6, with the scripture here in the reference to help you understand where Elder Wood comes with his synchronism and chronology. As we continue scrolling, we're going to come now to synchronism number 7 in 573 BC, and that would be in page 9 of his report. And again here, synchronism number 8 in 561 BC, and giving us again another explanation. So here we are at Nebuchadnezzar now, accession year. The next year was counted his first year. Thus, the 23 years of Jeremiah reach back to the death year of Ashurbanipal and the accession year of Nabopolassar, as you saw in the chart. You've got to go back to this to understand it better. Synchronism number 3. We're reading from 2 Chronicles chapter 36, verses 5 to 10. Joachim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God. Against him came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and bound him in fetters to carry him to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar also carried off the vessels of the house of the Lord to Babylon, and put them in his temple at Babylon. Now the rest of the acts of Joachim and his abominations, which he did, and that which was found in him, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And Joachim his son reigned in his stead. Joachim was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. And when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon with the goodly vessels of the house of the Lord, and made Zedekiah his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem. He was 8 years old. At the time that the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against the city, and his servants did besiege it. And Joachim, the king of Judah, went out to the king of Babylon, he and his mother, and his servants, and his princes, and his officers, and the king of Babylon took him in the 8th year of his reign. This is according to 2 King, again, chapter 24, verses 10 to 12. According to 2 King, chapter 23, verse 36, Joachim reigned 11 years. Joachim reigned 3 months, and then was taken prisoner to Babylon in the same year. And this is the same king that came with his mother and his servants and his prince and his officer at 8 years old, Joachim. And then was taken prisoner to Babylon in the same year, which was also became the accession year of Zedekiah, as well as the first year of Joachim's captivity. Inasmuch as the king is not dead, he is counted as ruler, and Zedekiah is thought of as a regent ruling for him. Therefore, the period of his captivity is an important one. The discovery of stamped jar handles in Palestine with Joachim's name on them verify this hypothesis. And you can find that in the book of Albright, and this is what is recorded. Thus, the 11th year of Joachim reign, the accession year of Zedekiah, and the first year of Joachim's captivity are equated with the 8th year of Nebuchadnezzar. The Babylonians had been before Jerusalem for nearly a year, according to Jeremiah, chapter 39, verse 1, and 2 King, chapter 25, verse 1. The 5th year of Joachim's captivity is the year of Ezekiel's call. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 1. It is also the first year of the reign of Sennacherib II. Synchronism number 4. Reading from Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord in the 10th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, which was the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar. Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 1 can be verified. That the accession year of Zedekiah was properly equated with the 8th year of Nebuchadnezzar is shown by the above synchronism. This would be the only way the 10th year of Zedekiah could synchronize with the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, as mentioned in chapter 32 of Jeremiah, verse 1. Synchronism number 5. And it came to pass in the 12th year of our captivity, in the 10th month, in the 5th day of the month, that one that had escaped out of Jerusalem came unto me, saying, the city is smitten. Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 21. Here, the 12th year of Jehoiakim's captivity is synchronized with the 1st year of the smiting of the city. Ezekiel received word on the 5th day of the 10th month, and the temple was burned to the 10th day of the 5th month. So it took practically 5 months for the news to reach him. That's how you read synchronism, events, chronology, dates. Synchronism number 6, Jeremiah chapter 39, verse 2. And in the 11th year of Zedekiah, in the 4th month, the 9th day of the month, the city was broken up. Jeremiah chapter 52, verse 12. Now in the 5th month, in the 10th day of the month, which was the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, which served the king of Babylon, into Jerusalem. 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 8. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. Here, the 11th year of Zedekiah is synchronized with the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar. This is the date of the 3rd and final campaign against Jerusalem. It was in the year 588, the 17th year of Nebuchadnezzar, and the 9th year of Zedekiah, that Oprah began its reign in Egypt. This is from the history of Palestine and Syria from Olmsted. Looking now at synchronism number 7, reading from Ezekiel chapter 40, verse 1. In the 25th year of our captivity, in the beginning of the year, in the 10th day of the month, in the 14th year after that, the city was smitten, in the same day, the hand of the Lord was upon me and brought me thither. The 21st year of Jehoiakim's captivity is synchronized with the 14th year of the smiting of the city. Synchronism number 8, Jeremiah chapter 52, verse 31. And it came to pass, in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the 12th month, in the 25th day of the month, and Evil-Merodach, king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, lifted up the head of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and brought him forth out of prison. The 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim is synchronized with the 1st year of Evil-Merodach or Amel-Marduk. This limits Nebuchadnezzar's reign to 43 years, as shown in Table 1, page 6. By a comparison of these 8 synchronisms with the details of the Table 1, pages 5 and 6, and with Chart A, page 11, it will be noted that they cover the entire period of Nabopolassar and Nebuchadnezzar's reigns. If one will take the pains to follow these various synchronisms through point by point, he will find that the transition made between the sacred and secular chronology is so firmly anchored that it is impossible to move a peg one way or the other. This is all the more remarkable as it is the first and only place in biblical history when this is done. These synchronisms extend therefore from the accession year of Nabopolassar through the accession year of both Nebuchadnezzar and Amel Marduk or evil Merodach, giving 3 instances of the use of the accession year idea. From a careful study of these data, the following important method of chronological reckoning is demonstrated, namely, for purposes of chronology, the entire last calendar year of a king's reign is given to that monarch and is also called the accession year of the following ruler, the next year being called the first year of the new king. And this is a most important method to remember on how to do synchronism and chronology, especially with the kings of Israel and other countries. B, the location of well-authenticated eclipses as anchors. All of the above data may be verified without the use of any definite anchor in the way of harmonizing the dates of these ancient kingdoms with our modern calendrical system. That is, the synchronisms between biblical and profane history do not rest upon the astronomical determination of any of these lines. So far as the synchronisms go, they would be true regardless of where the whole block of years was placed in the space of time. But in order to interpret any of these dates in terms of modern reckoning, recourse is to definite events that are linked up with astronomical phenomena. During this period from the reign of Nabopolassar to the reign of Artaxerxes, there are recorded 2 events happening in the time of eclipses of the moon, both in Egypt and in Babylon. One taking place in the 5th year of Nabopolassar in 621 BC, and the second in the 7th year of Cambyses in 523 BC. And here we believe we should read this report from Sidusky and giving you an idea of a different author of the part of the eclipse. The eclipse of the moon in the 7th year of Cambyses has been attested by 2 witnesses, Ptolemy Canon and the Cambyses 400 tablet. In another eclipse arriving in the 7th year of Cambyses, which is the 225th year of Nabo-Nasser, 1 hour before midnight on the 17th or 18th of the Egyptian month Famenot, one saw in Babylon the eclipse of the moon of the part of its diameter in the northern part, which corresponds to 224 Egyptian years, 196 days. And this is La Composition Mathématique de Claude Ptolemy. The Cambyses tablet, as translated by Stratmere, says, on the 7th of Cambyses, in the night of the 15th Dazu, or 1.5 Kasbu, or 3 hours, after the nightfall, the eclipse of the moon was entirely visible. It covered the northern half of the disk of the moon. And this is Sidusky, Études sur la chronologie assyro-babylonienne, ou the study of chronology of Assyria and Babylonia. And then we go to the next step, having to show the chart of the eclipse. Chart number A, or chart A. The eclipse was on the 5th of Nabopolassar, and this connects with Josiah. Follow the arrow. And it is found from the year of this eclipse is being studied here from 630 BC all the way to 590 BC, and it brings us all the history of Nabopolassar and, of course, Nebuchadnezzar. Looking at the first campaign of Jehoahaz and Joachim here of Nebuchadnezzar, right here, under the fourth, it being Joachim, and then the second campaign with Joachim, Nebuchadnezzar, and then involving Joachim and Zedekiah. First Joachim captivity, the 8th Nebuchadnezzar, and the 11th for Joachim. This is also with the account for Zedekiah, the accession of Zedekiah becoming the regent for the king while he was actually taken away. So this is an explanation where we're going to terminate this study of synchronism and chronology at this time. And in the next study, we will cover the two other parts on how to understand synchronism and chronology in the Bible.